What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the all-new 2024 Chevy Traverse. Now, the trim we're going to be looking at here is new for 2024, not new for Chevy, but new for the Traverse in 2024, and that's the Z71 trim. So this is the more off-road, kind of rugged style trim. So you're going to see a lot of that Z71 badging that we're accustomed to seeing. You got some red tow hooks and just some other kind of off-road style elements throughout the vehicle. We'll take a look at all of those in this video, but let's just start with everything that comes here on this 2024 Traverse and what's new here. So you could probably tell if you're familiar with the Traverse that we have had a full redesign here for 2024. It's kind of more in line with everything else that Chevy's making now. The Traverse was the one vehicle in the lineup that just really felt like it was lagging behind everything else, and they finally kind of caught it up to the pack. So the headlight design is going to be very in line with everything else we're seeing from Chevy. The way the cabin is designed on the interior with the large dual screens is very in line. So all of it's basically just been caught up to the current generation Chevys. And I think it's a pretty attractive three-row SUV. It's got that same kind of boxy design, but it's maybe a little bit more aggressive looking, and I think it looks nice. But like I mentioned, that headlight design, you're gonna have that slim, low-profile running light with turn signal, and then your full high beams and main beams are gonna be down here. You've got kind of this extra little accent pieces and things. All of this is very, very similar what we've had on things like the Blazer, the new Equinox, the Equinox EV, the Blazer EV. All of this is very similar to that. Trailblazer even in some elements, tracks. We've got a little satin piece that runs across the front, black Chevy bow tie here on the Z71, gloss black grille, got a front-facing camera that works with your HD surround vision, body colored split, satin lip at the bottom with some more air intake, some ultrasonic sensors, and like I mentioned, those red tow hooks, courtesy of that Z71 package. You'll also notice that little boosting ground clearance thanks to these massive tires here. That's going to be courtesy of that Z71 package as well. Now, under the hood of every single Traverse, you're going to have the same 2.5 liter turbocharged four-cylinder, 328 horsepower, 326 pound-feet of torque, 24 miles per gallon highway, 19 miles per gallon city. And it's paired with an 8-speed automatic transmission and a twin clutch all-wheel drive system. Now, if we move on over here to the side, you'll notice you get a little bit of cladding up around the wheel wells, and like I mentioned, you get these nice off-road style tires sitting on these 18-inch high gloss, a little bit two-tone wheel. They just kind of have these little accent pieces at the top. I think they look really nice, but you do have that little bit of lift suspension that I mentioned that's going to give it just a hair more ground clearance. Now, as far as the side mirrors go, you've got body colored mirror caps here, integrated turn signals. You got your camera up underneath that works with that HD surround vision, blind spot monitoring built in, and they are heated, but they are manual folding mirrors. Nice spaced out Traverse badging here that is black, blends in nicely. I like that. Keyless access here on the door panels, black trim around the windows, black roof rails up top, and then we have optioned on a dual pane panoramic sunroof that goes all the way back, which looks really nice. Outside of the full redesign and that Z71 trim, you still have the LS and the LT trims, which are lower than the Z71 trim, but the Premier trim and the High Country trim have been eliminated, and now the only higher trim than the Z71 is the RS trim, and that's the more sporty trim. You get larger 22-inch wheels, you get kind of all black cladding on the outside, you get a slightly more sporty suspension as well, but they're all going to have that same 2.5 liter turbo engine and the 8-speed automatic transmission. All right, so moving to the back of the Traverse here, you've got a couple really nice features back here. You've got some uniquely designed LED tail lights here, nice big Chevy bow tie in the center that is black, tinted rear glass with a wiper, a little bit of a spoiler lip to keep stuff off that back windshield. Up under here, you do have your rear view mirror camera. I like the placement of it up here better than down here. I think it gives you a more realistic rear view mirror view up here, so I like that they changed the placement of that. You do have a standard backup camera down here, some Traverse badging, some all-wheel drive badging, and your Z71 badging over here. Not an offensive amount of badging. I think it looks nice. A little bit of plastic cladding with some ultrasonic sensors, a satin bit here at the bottom, and then you have quad active exhaust, which is awesome. Behind here, you do have a trailer hitch, and the Traverse can tow up to 5,000 pounds. Auto sense power liftgate back here, so if you have the key in your pocket, you walk out of range, and then you walk into range and just stand for a sec, it starts beeping, and it's going to go ahead and open right up for you. Super helpful if you have suitcases or groceries and things like that. But this is kind of a traditional three-row family hauler, so obviously you're not going to have a ton of storage space back here right off the bat, but you still get a decent amount. It's about 23 cubic feet with the third row seats up. You fold the third row seats down, you get about 57 cubic feet. You fold the second row seats down, you get up into the 90s. And so you got some really nice storage space if you absolutely need it. You have a little bit of underfloor storage here as well, which is super convenient. Got some little hooks back here and things. Having this extra storage underneath is super, super helpful. But nice carpeted area back here, some hooks, room for a cargo shade. Let's go ahead and close her up and hop inside. All right, so hopping here into the cabin of the Traverse. Again, like I mentioned, this is right in line with everything else that Chevy is doing right now. So honestly, it just looks like a modern Chevy cabin. There's nothing wrong with that. It looks great, but it's just not that unique in any way. And again, that's okay. You got the same 11-inch driver information center, the giant 17.7-inch powered by Google system, rearview mirror camera, you know, a lot of gloss black plastic, some accent stitching, kind of the classic Chevy look. But let's go ahead and just work our way around the cabin. So soft touch at the top of the door panels. And then this is kind of a more modern thing that I'm seeing on a lot of Chevys. I actually looked at something similar to this on the Equinox EV. I reviewed that over on my tech channel. If you want to watch that, I'll have it linked above. But we talked about the little accent piece here. Now on the Equinox, it's just a simple kind of gradient piece. This almost has like a carbon fibery look to it with this red accent kind of gradient fading into this black accent. So it looks really nice, but it is kind of just a plastic accent piece. Then you have kind of a leatherette material with some red accent stitching. And then everything from the armrest down outside of this little accent piece is basically just hard touch plastic, which it's hard to really complain about in something that you're going to be hauling around kids in, because this is going to be the most durable and probably easiest to clean as well. But that same theme with that hard black plastic from about knees down works its way across the entire cabin. That soft touch runs all the way across the top of the dash with some accent stitching, a silver accent again, and then more of that red gradient carbon fibery look up top as well. Center console has more of that leather material with the red accent stitching and the dreaded gloss black plastic all over the center area here, as well as near the HVAC controls, which is a real bummer. Over on the left side, you do have a single vent here, more of that red accent piece, electronic parking brake. You got your drive mode selector, your all-wheel drive button, your auto start stop enable or disable button, and then your brightness controls for your displays. Now you do have a nice leather wrapped steering wheel here. It's a nice chunky big steering wheel, which some people love, some people don't like as much. It doesn't really bother me too much. It's a little bit bigger than I probably like, but it's not terrible. You've got all of your adaptive cruise control settings on the left side, as well as your low mode and super cruise. We do have super cruise here on this Traverse. Black Chevy bow tie in the center, and then all of your media controls and your heated steering wheel button on the right side. Paddle shifters on the back, Z71 badging at the bottom, some accent stitching around the steering wheel. That super cruise light is here. Now past the steering wheel, you're gonna have your light and your wiper controls on the left stock. It's a combo stock. And in the middle, you're gonna have the little sensor that watches your face for super cruise to make sure you're paying attention. And then your stock on the right side is actually your shift stock. So you've got reverse as up, neutral, straight back, drive is back and down, and then park is a button on the side. Push to start engine here. Past the steering wheel here, you do have an 11-inch driver information display. This is a super nice display. It's powered by Google, like I've said, but it is completely customizable. You can choose from different displays. One has your Google Maps built into it. One has your assist systems. One is super clean, which is the one I prefer. And then you've got, you know, different gauge layouts. You can customize the information inside. So tons of great information on this display. I really do think the look of it is not horrible. It's not my preference. It's a little too cluttered for my taste, but the fact that you can customize it, I think is really nice. But if we move on over to the right, you get this massive 17.7-inch driver infotainment display. This is the one we've seen on all of the new Chevy models on the high end, but this has everything. If you're a heavy Google user, you're gonna love this system. It's got all your Google stuff built in, Google Assistant, Play Store. Fart.
This is a fart.
You know, Google Maps, obviously, Google Podcasts, Google News, all that kind of stuff, but it also has wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is safe to use on this gas-powered vehicle, but not safe to use in their electric vehicles. Trust me, it makes complete sense.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine.
You also have a full trailering menu with a trailer hitch view camera, on-screen climate controls, Wi-Fi hotspot, Bluetooth audio, all that kind of standard stuff we're used to. You have a full camera menu that you can access all of your different 360-degree camera views. And then you do have Chevy's Auto Park Assist, which I've actually demoed in my Equinox EV review, and it was not good, but I'm gonna try it again in this video and try and follow some of the parameters that Chevy has set and see if we get a better result. So we'll see. Stay tuned to the end of the video so you don't miss that. Now, as far as the Super Cruise goes, we are gonna be testing that in the test drive portion. portion, but I actually talked a good bit about Super Cruise and kind of how it works and actually put it up against Tesla's system in a video that I made over on my tech channel. So if you guys want to see Super Cruise in action against some of the other systems on the market, go check that out. Moving on down from the display, you've got 2 vents here, and then you do have physical controls for your HVAC, which I know a lot of people love. Qi-enabled wireless charging pad, 12-volt outlet, 1 USB-C port, 1 USB-A port, 2 cup holders here, surrounded by gloss black plastic. Not great. Pocket here that you can open up. I don't know exactly what that would be for, but you've got it. Nice big center console here, little removable tray, a little LED light in there, but no additional ports, but good storage. And then since you do have a shift-by-wire system here on the steering wheel, you've got a nice big opening down here for extra storage space, which is always great because this is, again, a family hauler. Traditional glove box over on the right here. Up here, you do have that rear view mirror camera that I mentioned outside. You can simply flip this switch here and it will toggle between a standard rear view mirror and then your rear view mirror camera. And then you can also change some settings here with these buttons. OnStar controls up top, you got your sunroof controls here as well, and a little sunglasses holder here. All black liner as well. Now, as far as the seating surfaces go, these are a jet black cloth seat with torch red accents and this Z71 badging in the headrests. The driver is an 8-way power adjustable seat, and they are both heated for driver and passenger. And I'll say this, I don't mind the look of them as much. They look a little on the cheap side, and I think they feel a little on the cheap side. This is not a cheap vehicle. It is a 7-seater, so it's a large vehicle for $53,000. The seats could be a little bit more comfortable, right? I just don't find these super, super comfortable. If you give yourself a little bit of extra lumbar, helps a little bit, but they could be better. You do have some nice safety features here as well. We got rear park assist, follow distance indicator, forward collision alert, lane keep assist with lane departure warning, that IntelliBeam auto high beam. And then we also added the enhanced driving package onto this vehicle. That's a $3,700 option. And that gave us Super Cruise, enhanced automatic parking assist, driver attention assist, a Bose audio system, and that rear view mirror camera. All right, so hopping into the second row seats here. I moved them up a little bit to get better access to the third row, so we can slide them back a bit. Yeah, it's not bad. 5-6 inches of legroom here. Map pockets, 2 cup holders, little extra storage space here under the center console. You got your own climate back here. 2 USB-C ports, a full-size outlet. Door materials aren't great, but who cares when you're back here, right? You've got speakers, you got vents up here. You got access to the view out of that beautiful panoramic sunroof. You can tilt these seats back as well and really annoy the third row passengers. Some nice armrests that fold down. You know, again, these seats aren't the most comfortable seats out there, but as far as like having to ride in the second row, it's really nice with these captain's chairs. Let's hop in the third row. All right, so we can slide this seat forward and then grab this handle here, slide it up like that, and get nice, easy access here to the third row. Slide this back. Not really that bad. I mean, I'm 6'1". I mean, my knees are touching the back of the seat, but like they're not, you know, up to here like they are on some other third row vehicles at this size. I think good utilization of space back here. I think you've got honestly decent leg room. The headroom's good. The roof slopes up real tall back here. You've got vents right on your face, which is always nice to have back here. 2 cup holders, USB-C port on both sides. You got a center seat here with a headrest, which is great. If you need that extra space, you can sit in the middle seat, put your legs up through. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with the third row space back here. If you have to use it for an adult, you could definitely ride back here for a little bit. You know, if you're like 6'5", probably not, but average height, you can fit back here for a little bit of time. Wouldn't be too bad. All right, let's take the Traverse for a little test drive. So we've already got it turned on here. You can go ahead and flick down to get into drive. Let's get it out of here. So we'll try it in a couple of the different driving modes just to get some variation in the acceleration, see how it does. I've driven it a little bit back and forth, and it's not lethargic in any way, but I wouldn't say that it feels super quick. Although it does have a decent bit of horsepower, over 300. It sounds good too. It just doesn't really like, I don't know, it's just not super zippy. But again, I always try and keep in mind who the target demographic is, and this is a family hauler, thus these 7 seats. Now, I'll be honest with you guys, it's been quite a long time since I drove a Traverse, so it's hard for me to kind of remember back. I can't even remember the last time I made a review. I'll have to look. It's been probably 4 or 5 years, so I just don't drive them that often. There hasn't been a lot of new changes, to be honest, and it doesn't seem like it gets talked about too much, and I kind of understand why. It's in this weird middle ground between like the Blazer and then the Tahoe. The Tahoe is like the big family hauler that's real pricey and real premium. And then you got the Blazer, which is bigger than the Equinox, but not too much bigger. What is it for? And that's, I think, the thing that I struggle with the most about the Traverse. It's not that it's a bad SUV in any way, really. I mean, it's got a ton of space. You've got some really nice design to it now. I like the exterior. I think it's a nice refresh, or really a redesign, but it's a nice update. I like that you can have Super Cruise. I like the displays in here. I just find myself asking why. And I'd love to hear from you guys down in the comments who maybe are looking at a Traverse or have a Traverse already. Like, what's your why? What's the reason why you don't go for something like the Tahoe? Is it just simply price? I'd love to hear from you guys what your reasons are. And I have a couple that I think I can answer later on in this test drive, but let's get a City DB test real quick. So right around 65 dB at city speeds. It'll go. It doesn't have a ton of punch, but it goes. Well, let's talk about 3 things that I like and 3 things that I don't like as much about the Traverse here. First and foremost, I love the functionality of these displays here. Now, the look, not my favorite. I've mentioned that several times in this video and in past videos on the new GM system, but it's just not my favorite look, but the functionality is great. It's a very fluid display. There's a ton of features. There's a nice mix of on-screen controls and some physical controls, and everything just works smoothly and how you think it should. Not a lot of lag, not a lot of stuttering, a little bit here and there, but really in comparison to some of the other legacy manufacturer systems, it's fine, perfectly acceptable, very little lag. I really like that we have Super Cruise here. Super Cruise, like I mentioned, I've made a full comparison video. I drive a Tesla every day, so I'm used to autopilot and full self-driving, and so using Super Cruise is a really nice system. It's a nice, solid, hands-free system, which we'll take a look at in just a sec. It's still a little lacking in all of the things that it can do. Having it here on an internal combustion engine vehicle, not just limited to EVs, I think is really nice. And the system works well for what it claims to be able to do. And then finally, I just have to give it to the space of the Traverse here. You've got plenty of driver and passenger volume here in the front. You've got good leg room, good shoulder room. It doesn't feel cramped, doesn't feel like the passenger's too close to you. Get some nice storage space, nice captain's chairs with a nice open area. And then that third row is really impressive for this size vehicle. Here is a DB test at idle. Now, to be fair, the engine is off, so if we turn that back on, so you do have an auto start-stop engine you can turn on or off if you don't like that. There's a button on the side, super nice. Now, 3 things I don't like as much. First and foremost has to be these seats. I've been sitting in them filming for a while, and I just feel like my back is just not super comfortable. Like, I just wanna shift around a lot, and they're just not the best. Now, if you go up to the RS, you can get leather seats that are, I'm sure, a little bit more comfortable than these seats. I'll definitely be making a video on an RS when we get one, and I'll let you guys know what the differences are between them and if those seats are much more comfortable. But these cloth seats, they don't look bad in my opinion. They're just not super comfortable. Number 2 is kind of a goofy one, and this doesn't just apply to the Traverse, it applies to all of Chevy's new vehicles that have the new infotainment system, is what I'm trying to say. And it is this camera. You can use it while driving, so that's kind of cool. But the fact that it takes up like a tiny bit of the screen when you have so much screen real estate to use, and they just give you this big oversized menu. It's just so weird to me. I just don't get it. But again, I'm kind of nitpicking here. There's really not a ton of things I don't like. I think if I had to pick a third thing, I'd probably just say the accelerations. It just still feels a little bit lacking, and I don't understand why, because there is so much more horsepower than, you know, some of the other vehicles that I've looked at recently out of this 2.5 liter. I guess it's just the size of the vehicle, maybe the weight of it. This is like a 4,300 pound or so curb weight, probably between 4,300 and 4,600 pounds is what I'm gonna guess. I don't have the exact number in front of me. I'll put it on screen for you. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just a little bit heavier, and that's why this horsepower just doesn't seem to really pull like it should. I mean, over 300 horsepower is a lot for something that's, you know, this size. Let's get it on the highway here, give it some actual juice. Kind of rattling a little bit when I really push it. I don't know what that's about. Kind of like a low, like, we can go ahead and turn on Super Cruise as well. Oh, I gotta wait for the little steering wheel to pop up. Once that steering wheel pops up, that's when you can use it. And this will keep me in the center of the lane, keep me away from vehicles in front of me, and it is a true hands-free system. So I can put my hands down. It is gonna change lanes for me to get into a faster lane. Didn't touch the wheel at all. It's great. Since we don't have to touch the wheel, let's go ahead and get a DB test here on the highway. about 70 dB. That's not horrible. Now it will watch you with this little sensor here to make sure you're paying attention. So if I were to like look away and do stuff, it's going to beep at me and say, keep your eyes on the road. But I want to switch to different drive mode here. Let's just put it on normal. And I'm just gonna there's a lot of rattling. Completely could be the fact that it's like super windy today, and so maybe it's like fighting against the wind there, but that whole, it like shook when I accelerated. It's not amazing. So Super Cruise disengages because we got off the highway. So it only works on pre-mapped highways. I've gotten a lot more in-depth with this over on my tech channel. I'll have it linked above. Well, there's a Traverse right in front of me here. That's the older one. You can tell what a difference there is there. But overall, as far as the drive goes, the acceleration, like I said, it is what it is. It's not what I would call exhilarating, but it's not bad. As far as the handling goes, that's pretty freaking responsive. I actually think that's pretty good. Since they say they've tuned the suspension of the RS model, I'm actually interested to check that out and kind of see how it differs between this and the Z71 kind of more off-road style vehicle. So earlier I kind of asked the question, why about the Traverse? With how it falls in the lineup, why does it still need to exist? You've got the Blazer, which is smaller, you know, it's a 5-passenger, not a 7-passenger, but you still get a lot of the nice features. It's a little bit more premium feeling, right, than the Traverse. Then you've got the Tahoe, which can hold more people, but it's much more expensive than this Traverse. So does the Traverse simply exist to bridge that gap between the 5-seater Blazer and the expensive family hauler Tahoe? Probably. And that's perfectly fine. Some people may need the capacity of something like the Tahoe, but not be able to pay $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 for a Tahoe, and more in some cases. This one right here is the Z71, so this is the more off-road capable one, as I mentioned, and it stickers at about $53,000, right? If you go up to the RS, pay a little bit more than that, probably gonna get close to 60, maybe a little bit under 60. I think one of two things has to happen. It just continues to exist in its current state, and it's great, and people buy it, or they gotta make the Tahoe cheaper, and I don't see that happening. So should you buy a 2024 Traverse? I think if you fall into those categories, not being able to or not wanting to pay an exorbitant amount of money for a 7-seater or more, but you still need that capacity either to haul kids or you want that increased storage space that you get with something like this size vehicle, absolutely. Now, should you go to a lower trim level for less? Always an option, but I think this is a nice middle ground. The only caveat I would make is if you just don't like the look of the Z71, right? You don't like that little extra raised suspension, you don't like the kind of off-roady stylings of it, then sure, maybe go down to an LT. The look of the Traverse still really holds strong regardless of what trim level you get. And if you do want to pay a little bit extra and you want to have the super sporty, big wheels, blacked out look, then go with the RS. And I'll definitely be checking one out as soon as we get one on the lot. Now, before we end the video, I did want to try the auto park assist again. Like I said, I've tried this in the past and I had very, very bad results, as you can see here on screen on my Equinox EV review. And a lot of people in the comments pointed out to me that Chevy doesn't claim for it to be able to park in a wide open parking lot. It needs something on the side since it uses it just sounds like excuses to me that they can't do a full auto park system. We'll go ahead and put it to the test with the, qualifications that it needs. So I'll go ahead and try and park next to this truck right here and see how we do. So we'll go auto park assist. We'll pick a left-hand side perpendicular. We'll pull past the spot here. There you go. It stops the vehicle. Do you want to back into the spot? Let's go ahead and park. I'm a little scared. If I hit this dude's truck, I'm in trouble. Looks like we're okay. It's taking a lot of moves to do this. This shouldn't be as hard as it's making it, but as long as the end result is good, I guess the methodology doesn't matter as much, but I got a little close to the car there, but I think we're okay now. right, it says parking complete. Let's hop outside and take a look. All right, so it needed stuff around it. And you can see it definitely did significantly better than we had on the Equinox EV. But as you can see, it's still like pulled in at an angle, which I could tell on the camera that it was doing that. You can see how it's kind of like tilted. Like it's not straight in the spot, it's like kind of at this angle, which is weird. But as far as like spacing goes, it's not perfect, but it did a pretty good job. It could have backed up a little more. It still fit in the spot perfectly fine. And it did work a lot better with this Z71 2500 next to us here. Definitely better, but still not as good as some other systems. So thanks so much for watching, guys. Drop a like on the video if you loved it. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this new redesigned 2024 Chevy Traverse Z71. Let's talk about it down there in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button to be one of the first to see every single new video the second I hit publish. We'll see you in the next one.